Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. I'm your host, Derek Champagne, and I've got Jay MaGee, our co-host, here today. He's the brand outreach coordinator with The Artist Evolution.
And we're excited to have our special guest, Henry Ho, with us today. Henry is the co-founder and business development officer of Field Agent in Northwest Arkansas. Henry is also part of being responsible for bringing P&G here to Northwest Arkansas.
Henry, thanks for being our guest today.
Derek and Jay, it's great to be here.
So, Henry, tell us a little bit about your background and what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, I moved to the U.S. when I was 7 years old and grew up in New York. And I had a 19-year run with Procter & Gamble. I was one of the founding members of the P&G Walmart team from the very inception. That's what brought me to Northwest Arkansas. And in some ways, we never left. I left for about 5.5 years as part of that 19 years to go to Asia to work with Walmart and to run some of the businesses for P&G. Started North Star Partnering Group in 2001. And Field Agent, our current business, is our third business that we started since 2001.
Huh. So what was the process of starting Field Agent?
It really was one of those ideas that came out of a back of a napkin. I was at a lunch meeting with a friend who was a researcher, and it was the early days of the iPhone. The first iPhone that came out, I had one and he had one, and we started talking and saying, with this technology in our hand, we should be able to solve some real problems for the supplier community and for retailers. And the more we talked about it, the more we realized that we had a pretty interesting idea. And shortly after that, we went and shared it with my partners in the business, and we realized that we had something interesting. But the interesting thing is, we thought it was a good idea, but we thought someone else had to be doing it already. It was such a good idea. And so what we did, we met as a group and we said, hey, you know what, let's go all do our Google research. And over the next couple of weeks, let's see if anybody else is doing it. And after about 3 weeks, we got back together and said, I haven't found anybody doing something like this. This is a pretty good idea. But in the back of our minds, we always thought someone else was doing it. And the interesting thing was that after about 5 months of sitting on this good idea, we just finally decided, let's do this. And so we had two good businesses running at that time, and we said, we have to do this on nights and weekends. So this is kind of our version of our garage. We had full-time businesses that we were running already, and they were successful. And so we decided we're going to put together a nights and weekend schedule. And we put together a small team, and we started concepting it out and starting talking to prospective customers. And over probably a 2 or 3 months period, we decided to pull the trigger and start the software development part of the business model. And after about 9 months worth of development, we launched in April of 2010. The idea was created in January 2009.
Okay.
And so we did that kind of due diligence and then development.
Well, that's pretty exciting too. It seems like there's very few ideas that haven't been thought of already, and we work with several clients like that. And to be able to actually search, it must feel like Christmas morning to realize that there's actually nothing else like it. And then you probably got to move pretty fast.
We did.
Somebody else thinks of it, right?
We did. We have a pretty interesting distinction with Field Agent. It was early days of apps, and it was fairly early days of crowdsourcing. We were the first app that paid our agents real money. Prior to that, in the early days of the app, everything was about subscription models and buying things through your app. And so people were paying people who own those apps money for whatever service they were getting. We were the first app that was out there that paid people for doing tasks through the app.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of fun. And within probably 12 to 18 months, there were 3 other competitors in the space.
Wow.
So it was pretty fun.
Wow. We always tell people, if you don't have any competition, look in the rearview mirror, because
It's coming.
they're coming pretty quickly.
In today's world.
Yes, and get ready. Yeah. Happens very fast.
One of our guys in our strategy team today talked to someone who's doing our model in Germany today. We always reach out to people in other parts of the world to kind of learn what they're doing and sharing to the extent that it makes sense. But this company started in 2014. And they took our business model and adapted it to their market. And so it's fun to see. We get inquiries throughout the world. We're already in 6 countries outside of the U.S. And looking to add a few more key markets in the next year.
Wow. So with all the competition, with all the changes and continual updates in technology, how challenging is it to stay ahead of the game?
It's an everyday challenge. In fact, we just recently restructured our company to make sure that we have a focus on innovation and strategy and strategic partnerships. And I now lead that group along with our international development. And so we look at the business model as a global model. We look at serving our customers on a global basis. And then we're looking to leverage strategic technologies and methodologies to serve our clients.
So is that all systems and processes?
It's all the above. It's learning what technologies are out there that we want to be connected with to create value together. It's about working with some new methodologies that are out there. Right before coming out to this conversation, we were on the phone with a UK partner that does video analytics, because part of what Field Agent does is we capture the shopper's shopping experience and behaviors in store. Well, we can capture that through pictures and surveys and also videos. And so we need a better way to process videos. Videos are very clunky, as you know, to process. It's not that difficult for 2, 3, 5 videos, but 300, 500 videos. As good as our technology is, as good as our bandwidth with Wi-Fi and connectivity, that's still really clunky and heavy. So we're working on developing capabilities in that area.
So it seems like you work in several different niches with several different industries. Who's your target customer?
Our target customer is any business or even an individual, but really more businesses that need to gain information and insights about their customer or about their retail and business environment. So anything in the public space. We think of Field Agent as the eyes and ears of the industry. That could be suppliers to Walmart or Walgreens or Target or Family Dollar, Dollar General, you name it, Costco. Anyone who wants to understand what's going on in the marketplace. I remember when I was with P&G, we used to go on market visits, and we would spend hundreds and thousands of dollars flying to Minneapolis, for example, and checking out maybe, if it was a good day, we would check 6 to 8 stores, overnight, meals, the whole thing, and we come back to maybe there's 3 or 4 of us, and you put $6,000 to $8,000 on a trip like that. Well, today we can get to Minneapolis and do those same stores and do much more comprehensive collection of information, what's going on in the market, in the matter of maybe a couple $100. So we've created access to what's going on in the marketplace anytime, anywhere. We say it's an on-demand service. And when we first launched, people didn't believe that we could get out to our market, collect the information, get a report back to them in a matter sometimes of hours, and definitely in a matter of days back to our clients. And the challenge in those days was they weren't used to getting information that fast. The way it was done before Field Agent was, hey, I need some information. Either I send a team out there to collect it, They have to schedule the trip and all that, or I send my broker out there, or I do whatever. And you know what? I put that order in, and 3 weeks later I get that information, and I pull those reports, and I've got 3-week-old data, but that's the best available. You know, when we introduced Field Agent, we could get stuff back in a matter of days, and they didn't know what to do with it because they weren't expecting it until 3 weeks later. And so we really changed the way the world collects business information and insights. You know, we're on that mission, and it's quite a ride.
How would you define a servant leader?
I would define a servant leader as someone who thinks about developing their people ahead of getting and achieving goals for him or herself. And so it's about investment in people, and achieving results and business goals through an organization, which is really through people. And so a servant leader equips, enables, and helps people in his organization first. You know, if you're a team leader, you develop your team. If you're a company leader, you develop people in your company. And then as you go beyond that, you serve your community, right? And then you serve your industry. So as leaders, as we develop these capabilities and understanding of what's going on, we want to take our learnings and share that back with the business community, something like what we're doing now.
Yeah. So how do you build a team?
You know, there's different ways. Sometimes you're inherited a team, and you're put in charge of a team that's already existing, and sometimes you get to handpick your team. I've had experiences with both, but the principles are the same. You get to know the people that you work with, you understand their strengths, you focus on building on those, and then in the opportunity that you have to build a team, and then you're now very selectively picking skill sets and strengths so they become complementary. Those are rare. In business, you don't often get the chance to start with a brand new slate and add team members. But I've had that opportunity in building new companies, and we try to balance the strengths and the skill sets that you want to have. I'm a big believer, I don't think we have time, but I'm a big believer in a concept called brain styles. I worked with an author back in the early 90s. Her name was Marlene Miller, and she wrote a series of books on brain styles. And so I think your audience probably would benefit from that. In fact, I went to a startup discussion yesterday at the Startup Junkie in Fayetteville, and the woman who gave the talk, she was a startup CEO, and she talked about the different ways that people come at problems. And brain styles basically values the way you think through problems. And so whether you're left brain, right brain, and the speed in which information is processed. My premise is our greatest diversity is our brain styles. And I would love to talk about that some other time, but that is it's a great way of understanding who your team members are, and then fully leveraging their brain styles to help you get the information and process information. And at the end of the day, business plans, strategies, and execution is a series of business information processed and then executed.
So tell me about having a balance in life. You're a busy guy, you're a family guy too. How do you find that balance? You know, my balance comes from just loving what I do and creating flexibility in my life. I am involved in a lot, but the great thing about being an entrepreneur and your own kind of creating your own business is you create flexibility. And if you create flexibility, you can get a lot of things done, and you're not kind of boxed in. That's the thing that I've enjoyed most outside of P&G. P&G was a great company to work for. Great brands, great people, great systems, but it didn't give me the flexibility that I was looking for. And since leaving corporate world, I really have enjoyed the ability to both serve my community, be connected to my family, and then also do great business. And as I lift up my phone, technology has really enabled it as well. And I got a big smile because I'm a techie guy, love technology.
always wants to try new things, and so technology has really opened it up as well.
So are there any new trends happening that you're excited about and that you can share with us from technology or from a consumer insight or crowdsourcing?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and we are continuing to look for ways to find solutions for our clients, and lots of times, we started out being data collections and insights. Now we're moving into figuring out how we create solutions for our clients, and a lot of times that means having to partner with people. Both partner from a technology standpoint. I talked a little bit about the video and analytics. We are also partnering and looking at business intelligence partnerships. I'm having lunch tomorrow with the CEO of a BI company, and we're talking about how we can connect our service and capability with his. And then we're also looking at partnering with people who can do what we don't want to do, which is the arms and legs part of the business. We're eyes and ears. We want to connect with people who can add value by being arms and legs. So we identify and assess things. We want to work with people who are interested in the best in class of executing and implementing in stores. And so part of what we're doing now is looking into the future and saying, what does a successful company like Field Agent need to be like 2 or 3 years down the road? And so it's a mix of technology, strategic partnerships, and continuing to innovate our own internal capability.
What are some challenges or setbacks that you've experienced through your business career?
I would tell you that running a growing company teaches you a lot. And for us at Field Agent, I don't know if it's necessarily a failure, but the challenge of cash flow, managing cash flow and really planning for it well, and that's a real challenge. And we've had times where we realized that, man, if we were to go to do this alone, the growth that we're experiencing is going to crush us, right? And any startup or entrepreneur that's trying to grow a company, I think we'll all shake our heads and say, yeah, we understand cash flow, and so we bootstrapped and self-funded Field Agent for the first 3 years. We realized about 2.5 years in, oh my gosh, if we don't do something to bring in capital, this will be a challenge for the next 5-10 years. And so learning from that and trying to figure that out, growing fast growth companies is challenging.
So on the personal side, how do you keep it strategic and not from being something that's an emotional or something that comes home with you that stretches you out? I mean, I'm a business owner as well, and we have these decisions and our clients that we often see and what they're dealing with and all these issues that are work related, and sometimes it can spill over to other parts of our life. How do you deal with it personally? How do you keep it where you're making good decisions for your business?
For me, I use times of reflection and prayer. I also use time to mentor and study up on key subjects that will bring peace and joy internally. And so I get a chance to share that with young men that I mentor. And a lot of times when you go through learning something, I believe in that if you learn it, you go and reapply it and share that with someone else. There's no better kind of internal pressure to apply these principles than having to teach them and kind of live them out in front of people that you care about. And the other thing is, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy, right? That's a great principle.
That's true.
And I've got a great wife, and we have to work on working as a partner in life and kind of supporting each other. As you know, Derek, she's quite a teacher.
Yeah.
And
yes,
I'm her biggest fan.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Miss Nancy. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's true.
My daughter, it's been a year, my daughter continues to talk about her
That's
all the
great.
time and lights up when she sees her.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think you were probably in the parking lot because I don't think I'd met you before. And we were at a birthday party and she stopped in. School was over. She stopped in just because she knew the kids would want to see her, and they all just stopped what they were doing at a big bounce house place, and I wanted to run in to see her. She was the star that summer.
So now you know what I live with.
It's
It's hard to live under her shadow.
That's great. You have another question you want to ask?
Well, on the opposite end of a challenge, can you share any success stories that you have experienced?
This, success stories for us, I think, is continuing to see our company grow and being part of what we call our emerging startup community in Northwest Arkansas. And Rick, my partner, and I, and Kelly Miller and Mark Young, our ownership group, really believe in giving back to the community. And so we were highlighted in a Forbes magazine article called "Discovering Arkansas Startup Scene," and it was describing various local companies that have gotten funding and that have been successful in helping create successful companies and then investing that back into the community. So we really view that as success, as you grow, to give back and to learn from others. And so we really like the kind of the integrated fabric that's here in Northwest Arkansas. We see partnership with the university. One of the things that we love to do is say, hey, Field Agent is about bringing the universities up to the 21st century tools. I love my good friend Matt Waller at the University of Arkansas. He's a great dean of the business school. And Matt and I have been friends for a long time, and we have mutual respect for each other. But I want to help Matt and the business school bring some 21st century tools. And mobile research. Everybody now lives on the mobile and their mobile devices. And so we love to see more and more research being done in real time at what we call the points of influence. You as a shopper, as a consumer, are at these strategic points inside the store that influence you. And I know the brands and clients that we have want to understand how consumers react to their brands in store. And these are the points of influence.
What is some of the best entrepreneurial advice you could give people?
My good friend Steve Graves publishes a blog, and one of the points that he recently made, I'm just kind of not, when you read something and you say, man, I either say amen or man, that was great. And Steve's point is that everybody in the organization is in the people development business, especially the leaders. And so I believe that is what we're about. We want to teach people on our team how to be the best they can be. I just had a conversation this morning with somebody on my team, and I said, I care so much about your development, but I want you to care more about your development than me, and then enroll me in that. And so that's the culture we want to create. We want to create a culture where people are interested in developing other people, and part of the development of a culture, I think. We want to grow a bunch of leaders up that understand the importance of culture and people development. And when you do that, it really doesn't matter what business you do, right? If you care about people, your customers, and creating culture, you can create successful businesses. And so our ideal scenario is to kind of release leaders who have other opportunities to go launch new companies or new ventures, and to do it in a way that I think would give God the most honor, which is, hey, make people successful and make companies successful.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share about any community involvement, about CEO Global, or anything you're passionate about that you want to talk about a little bit?
I could talk all day. No, but I would tell you that outside of Field Agent, and again, when I'm meeting with young, what I call 20-somethings, and I'm encouraging people to say, be great in your job, of course. Be great at home with your family, but be great in investing back in the community. And so I really believe in that to be kind of a holistic success, you need to invest back in the community, in those who are less fortunate than yourself, in the younger generation, and making sure that what you leave behind in terms of a legacy of success looks comprehensive. It's not siloed. And so hopefully that's helpful.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be.